All right, so moving on to the final segment, we're going to pivot over here to the world of wrestling inside the WWE world. And I'll be sharing my WWE Crown Jewel PLE summary. So I'll be going over all 5 of the matches that took place on the Crown Jewel card. And I'll be giving a quick take of what happened in the world of wrestling today on Monday Night Raw. But to kick off the show for Crown Jewel, you had Bronson Reed defeat Roman Reigns in an Australian street fight. Now, I thought this was a really good match to kick off the show between Roman Reigns and Bronson Reed. Fans were eating it up. They were interacting with both Roman Reigns and Bronson Reed, and that's everything you want as a sports entertainer, to not only put on a good performance, but to get the crowd engaged in your performance. So there was action inside the ring, outside the ring. There were weapons being used. Both men were being physical, landing some physical spots in this match. The outside interferences towards the end of the match really heated up the action. We all know Braun Breaker was going to come out to help his guy Bronson Reed. And the Usos, Jimmy and Jay, came out to help Roman Reigns. So I like the fact that I like the spot, I should say, that Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker hit the Shield powerbomb of Roman Reigns, powerbombing Roman Reigns through the announce table. And the accidental spear was the story of the match. Jey Uso speared Roman Reigns through a table by accident. And that opened the door for Bronson Reed to hit the tsunami splash to end the match and pick up the biggest victory of his WWE career, main roster or NXT, against the Tribal Chief Roman Reigns. And to my knowledge, I honestly think that was the first time that Roman Reigns was pinned in one-on-one competition for the first time this decade, other than him losing the WWE title against Cody Rhodes in the main event of WrestleMania 40 Night 2, the Cody Rhodes a year ago. So second time, I should say, in this decade that Roman Reigns has been pinned in one-on-one competition. So that's a big win for Bronson Reed. Now, it looks like we take another dive into the Bloodline story. Roman Reigns is pissed off with Jimmy and Jay, the Usos. Everybody's seen the dialogue after the match of Roman Reigns was so pissed off. He said he loved the Usos, but he didn't want to see them until Christmas because he wants to prove to the world that he can do it on his own. He wants to prove that he can still be the tribal chief without the bloodline helping him and assisting him to get big victories. But now it looks like Jimmy and Jay are now on the same page, so it could be an exciting few weeks for this bloodline storyline. We could possibly see if we're on a collision course for Jey Uso possibly turning heel on the red brand of Monday Night Raw. Next match, it was a champion versus champions match. You had Stephanie Valkyrie defeat Tiffany Stratton to become the new Women's Crown Jewel champion. Now, for as long as the match lasted, it was a good match. Only lasted 10 minutes, which I really wasn't a fan of, between these two world champions. And felt like Stephanie Valkyrie, for as long as the match did last for, she did bring the best out of Tiffany Stratton in ring. And you could tell she brought her out of her comfort zone. Both worked well together in this match. But again, the complaint I have is the match was too short. Why are we only giving these women 10-minute matches for a Crown Jewel championship that the WWE wants us to believe that is so prestigious year in and year out? But things didn't really pick up until the end of the match between Stephanie Valkyrie and Tiffany Stratton. The reversals, the counters, the near falls. Stephanie Valkyrie ultimately capitalized on Tiffany Stratton's, as I get tongue-tied, Tiffany Stratton's mistakes, and she hit the corkscrew splash for the win. So I thought that was really good for Stephanie Valkyrie, who's having an incredible 2025. She is the first ever double NXT Women's Champion, simultaneously holding the NXT Championship and the Women's North American Championship, and she won the Women's World Championship, and now she just won the 2025 Women's Crown Jewel Championship. Great year for Stephanie Valkyrie in the calendar year 2025. Oh, now next match was a classic. You had John Cena defeat AJ Styles. Now this was a really instant classic match. This was an excellent match. Just like their Royal Rumble match in 2017, this match between John Cena and AJ Styles, the action did not spill out to the outside of the ring. All in-ring action for as long as the match lasted. And there was some creative spots and some near falls in this match that really caught my eye between John Cena and AJ Styles. They pay homage to several wrestlers and WWE legends. John Cena hitting the Skull Crusher finale, paying homage to The Miz. The Rusev Accolade submission on AJ Styles. AJ Styles paying homage to Samoa Joe with the Coquina Clutch. John Cena hitting the Walls of Jericho on AJ Styles. The Sister Abigail that John Cena hit on AJ Styles. The RKO that John Cena hit on AJ Styles. The Sweet Chin Music that AJ Styles hit on John Cena. The Chokeslam that Cena hit on Styles. The Tombstone that John Cena hit on AJ Styles. I mean, if you guys didn't like this match, you guys don't love professional wrestling. Yeah, there was a lot of unnecessary spots for some, but this match, to me, for them paying homage to a lot of legends in the game, and with the creative spots, the near falls, this makes you fall in love with wrestling if you have been in limbo or you haven't been paying attention to the product. AJ Styles and John Cena delivered another classic, and this clearly was the best match of the entire show of Crown Jewel. And now it hits home because the series officially ends with John Cena being up 3-2 on AJ Styles, and unfortunately that's the last time we'll ever see these legends share a ring with each other, because John Cena is ending his career by the end of the year and AJ Styles is retiring 2026. So this was really a good match. We have 4 appearances left from John Cena. I would like for John Cena to wrestle Dominic Mysterio for the Intercontinental Championship, possibly win it. And then you can fight Gunther in your final match. I have no problem with John Cena wrestling Gunther at Saturday night's main event. Based off of the tickets, being in DC, me being the DMV, I want to see John Cena's final match. So I hope WWE and TKO doesn't skyrocket the ticket prices so I could be in attendance for whoever John Cena faces as a final opponent. But I think it's appropriate to see John Cena wrestle Dominic Mysterio before it's over, or possibly give us John Cena versus Gunther, or possibly John Cena versus Drew McIntyre when it's all said and done for his final opponent. But let's keep going here. Next match, we had Rhea Ripley and Io Sky defeat Asuka and Kairi Sane. All 4 ladies did their job in this match to make this a good tag team match, and obviously it was hard to follow up between John Cena, that one-on-one match between John Cena and AJ Styles. But all 4 women kept the fans engaged, and we know Rhea Ripley, the fan favorite, being from Australia, being in her home country, made this tag team match better in my opinion, because it kept the fans engaged for as long as the match lasted. Kairi Sane was being loyal to Asuka in this match. She was split on, but you could tell she was split on turning on her former Damage Control friend, her ally, and Io Sky. But this was a good match. The end of the match was to protect Asuka. I think Raw has big plans for Asuka in the women's division moving forward, as Kairi Sane was the sacrificial lamb, with Rhea Ripley hitting the Riptide and Io Sky hitting the over the moonsault on Kairi Sane for Rhea Ripley, Io Sky to pick up the tag team victory. And in the main event, you had Seth Rollins defeat Cody Rhodes in a champion versus champion match for Seth Rollins to win the Crown Jewel Championship, be the Crown Jewel Champion of 2025. Now, I thought this was a really good match between Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins. Really good wrestling match to close out Crown Jewel with no outside interference. And the spots were great. I mean, you had that coast-to-coast headbutt that Seth Rollins hit on Cody Rhodes, going coast-to-coast across the ring. The Spanish Fly. We had an avalanche crossroads that Cody Rhodes hit on Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins using Cody Rhodes' watch that Cody Rhodes gifted Seth Rollins for assisting him at WrestleMania, only to knock out Cody Rhodes, cheat his way to victory, and hit a curve stomp on Cody Rhodes from off the top rope to pin Cody Rhodes and finally defeat Cody Rhodes in one-on-one competition. We all know that Cody Rhodes clean swept Seth Rollins in one-on-one competition in 2022. Now Seth Rollins can finally say he defeated one of his biggest rivals up to date in Cody Rhodes in one-on-one competition. So now Seth Rollins looks like he's on top of the world. Now this is where I told you guys at the beginning of the segment I had one more thing to cover based off of what happened on Monday Night Raw today. So, quick thoughts on Raw today with division ending. Honestly, with Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed turning on Seth Rollins, I really feel like division ended on Raw very abruptly and quickly. I don't think this was honestly the plans, and I know Seth Rollins faked the injury during the summer, and I always thought it was a work. I was one of those people that didn't believe that Seth Rollins was legitimately injured when he wrestled LA Knight on Saturday night's main event during the summer. But if you guys actually look at that coast-to-coast headbutt that Seth Rollins hit on Cody Rhodes during the Crown Jewel match, you could see that Seth Rollins landed awkwardly on that shoulder. And I think Seth Rollins is really injured this time. And yeah, the seeds were planted for a future tease with Braun Breaker eventually turning on Seth Rollins. I thought that would happen the Raw after WrestleMania 42. But now we're heading full steam with Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker and Paul Heyman turning on Seth Rollins. Again, I think the plans have been changed because we've seen no character signs of Seth Rollins heading into a babyface role. And Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed with the biggest snake in the company of Paul Heyman, I don't see them being a babyfaces either. So I think this was to write off Seth Rollins off of television. We'll see what happens. Or this could be a swerve that Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed are still with Seth Rollins and the vision is still intact. But I think the rush plans of this faction ending early was due to the fact that Seth Rollins is legitimately injured. He could miss some time off of television very soon. But Paul Heyman has actually turned on Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, and CM Punk in the calendar year 2025. That is wild. So, I mean, Paul Heyman's gonna be fine either way. He's, in my opinion, the greatest manager in WWE history. He's gonna mesh well with two unhinged monsters and Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker. And they both never really needed Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins feuded with both of these guys in the past. And Bronson Reed actually defeated Seth Rollins in the past. So, if Bronson Reed believes that he's good enough to defeat the Tribal Chief, I think he believes he's good enough to take over this main event scene on Monday Night Raw. And Braun Breaker, we all know, is the future of this industry. And Paul Heyman has always said that he wants Braun Breaker to be a Paul Heyman guy. So whatever direction we go in, I think this is going to be an absolute cinema. Again, I think the plans were rushed because I think Seth Rollins could miss a lot of time due to having a possible shoulder injury and could relinquish the World Heavyweight Championship. I could be wrong, but I think this time there is no swerve, there is no kayfabe. I think Seth Rollins is legitimately injured, and this was a last-minute plan to write Seth Rollins off of television with Paul Heyman leading the faction now with Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker. But that is my WWE Crown Jewel PLE summary and my thoughts on Monday Night Raw today. That is all the time I have for you guys today. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for listening. This is your host, Thomas Tyree, signing off. And I'll see you guys on next week's episode.